Hey guys. So I want to talk about navigating your experience and really understanding what it means living in this program matrix. And once you figure out what this universe is truly all about, who you truly are, um, unwinding all the programming and understand why you chose certain things. Like we say, a lot of people know deep down that they have no regrets, even if they don't consciously know it, subconsciously, the reason that we have no regrets, and that's even like a phrase, is because we know that we came here to grow. So, all that contrast and all those things and those hard experiences, the reason that we subconsciously don't regret them is because they are gifts for us to grow and tools for us to use in our growth process. So a perfect example of this, and I'll use myself because what a what a better example to use than somebody who understands why they had to go through certain processes. So for me as a child, I went through a lot of trauma. I saw my mom get abused for many years, and I went through a bunch of different things and got taken away from her. My dad raised me, and it was me and my brother, and there was all this trauma that I went through. And at the time, you just feel like a victim. When you're not awakened to who you truly are, you feel like a victim in all your situations. I went on to repeat cycles that my parents, that I chose to come into the bloodline of my parents. And it was like energetic holds in the DNA of that bloodline that you could see the cycles perpetuate. So, for example, my both of my parents have been married. My mom was married 4 times. My dad was married 3 times. And then I took on that cycle and was married multiple times, okay? So, and then now that I'm awakened after I've experienced all those things where I felt like a victim, I couldn't understand. Like, it felt like the right thing to do. I'm not a stupid person. I'm like in my program mind, I'm an educated person. I went and got my BA and my MA and I was a collegiate athlete and I did all these things. I was this overachiever and it was like, but I couldn't understand. My program mind couldn't understand why I just couldn't make the right decisions and have clarity in the way I had clarity in my other aspects of my life in terms of what success means in the matrix, as why I kept making these decisions. Turns out, once you become awakened to what things really mean, it was me perpetuating this energetic blockage within the DNA of the bloodline that I chose to come into. And it's so, and we kind of get these things even through our programming, and if we haven't evolved, because you'll see things like the example I use where, oh, the parents are getting married multiple times and then all of a sudden the kids perpetuating that same cycle. And I'm sure you see that in your own families with so many different things. It could have to do with like eating disorder or anything. And of course it does have to do with the environment that you're raised in, but in the same respect, it has to do with, because if you're a parent and you have multiple kids, I have 4 kids, so I understand this very well. You understand that each soul in those little bodies is a unique soul signature that has experienced so many different perspectives, but they come in with a personality. They come in with this mission. They come in knowing that they're going to experience these things, that they don't know it because we all forget when we're born. But once you see that it's not all about the environment you're raised in as to how things manifest in terms of how your life plays out. So so I wrote down a few things that I really wanted to pin down in order for people to truly understand, like why you go through the things that you go through, and it's to release certain things that you've been holding on to, maybe from lifetime to lifetime, maybe just from this lifetime, maybe just because you were chose to come into a family and help clear them, which is what I did. So once I got to the point where literally I know that I will be with a divine partner for the rest of my life, but my programming and desire to be married ever again is gone. Because for me, and I'm just going to share my personal opinion, it doesn't apply to everybody, because everybody is on their own journey, has their own revelations, has their own things to heal. But for me, it's it's two people who don't have this, to me, a marital contract through the government is not divine. um, it puts this hold, it makes you feel like you have to be there, instead of two people wanting to be with each other. They're there because they choose to be there. They're two independent souls who can provide for themselves and don't need the other one. There's no codependency. Like, there's a lot behind it, okay? And that was like one of the lessons I had to learn, and something I had to clear for my own family. And it was so funny, because once I started clearing this stuff and coming into once you realize the things, once you change your perspective, that's when you see the changes, okay? But you can't change your perspective unless you make the big scary changes. I'm going to come down here just because my hand's shaking a little. But, so, where was I going with that? So anyways, you make these big changes, and then you change your perspective, and then you see your life unfolding in a different way. And then here's another example I want to use too. So I was an overachiever. And a lot of times when you're busy, it's because you don't want to feel something that you have to deal with. So a lot of people who are overachievers probably are suppressing some type of trauma and don't want to feel. They can't just slow down and be. Even people who are like, oh, I can't stay home. Like, let's go to the movies. Let's go to the store. Let's go shopping. Let's go do this. They can't even sit with themselves because they don't want to feel things that they haven't dealt with yet. Okay. So for me, when I was younger, I was an overachiever. I was like, even when I was in college, after I stopped playing basketball, which is an overachiever, somebody to, you know what I mean? All these things. But, after that, I would have 2 jobs and be in school full time. I went through, got my master's degree, was a single mom in grad school. I did it all by myself, did all it, and I was just like, go, go, go. I literally had my schedule planned out to the point where at 6 a.m. I was either at work, and then I would go to school in the afternoon. And then after the afternoon, I would go to my second job, because they don't, for me, I had 2 part-time jobs. So I could get the hours just right and just be so strategic. It's funny because Lance calls me MacGyver, because I'm like the most strategic person. That's why I came in heavy divine masculine energy. And so for me to bring in that balance, now I'm realizing, and that's why I'm explaining my experience to you, so you guys can see how you have to pick out and understand exactly every move that you make, and understand what happened in the past. And that's why it's beautiful to go back in meditation and go back to past lives and understand who you were in other past lives, and really get to know yourself as a unique soul signature, not as this physical body, not as Kelsey, who I incarnated as, but as who I am, my soul, my unique soul signature, who I truly am, not this character, this car I'm driving around, this person that I'm playing just in this specific lifetime. Because the only reason I came in here to be this person was so I could heal and grow and learn these lessons. And I just want to reiterate something that I said yesterday, and Spirit just keeps telling me to keep repeating this to everybody, that this example, this metaphor to everybody. Money, in the program matrix, money is the currency. So everybody's saying, how can I get more money? Because that is what success is in the matrix. That is what it is in lower vibrational energy experiences. But we have to flip that and understand that the true currency is how you feel. It's your vibration. And so, yes, maybe once you raise your vibration, it will probably manifest money for you. And that money is not what's making you feel good. You feel good in order to manifest everything you could ever want and desire, but you have to feel good first. And you're not going to feel good trying to reach for desires that are your ego's desires instead of your higher self desires. And how do you know it's your ego? Because once you get there, you feel fulfilled for like 5 seconds, because it's not genuine and organic. It's artificial. You're reaching for something externally to make you feel good. You have to feel good just sitting with yourself in the most craziest contrast, finding the silver lining, finding the lesson, finding the gift, appreciating when bumpy things happen in your life because you know it's time to level up. So, yeah. And that's just it. We gravitate towards situations that are going to serve us. And when we don't gravitate towards those situations, let me rephrase that. We'll gravitate toward the situations, we'll be in the situations, and then that's when the cycles come in if we don't choose to adopt a different perspective via that situation. So we repeat the cycle. Okay, I'm still going to keep responding in the same freaking way every time this trigger comes up. I'm still going to stay at this job. It's always fear. It's always fear. Like deep down, you know this doesn't make you happy. You know this isn't the right choice for you, but you still keep making the same choice. It's just fear. It's just you making decision with your ego in the driver's seat, and your ego will sit in fear. It will sit in anxiety, it will sit in depression, it will sit in all these low vibrational energies, because that's all the ego is. It's when you feel low vibrational energies. That's why I hate using the word ego, because it's kind of like connotations tied to it in terms of like, if you say ego, somebody who's programmed thinks a certain thought about what the ego is, and it's not necessarily what it means in a spiritual sense that will help them understand the world better, you know? It's a programmed understanding. But yeah, like I said, the last thing I'll read from this paper, the more you unclog yourself from programming, the higher you'll raise your vibration. And the more you raise your vibration, the more steady you feel in you know, tough contrast in situations that are uncomfortable and give you anxiety. Once you start raising your vibration, these decisions, these big scary choices, these big leaps that we've been afraid to make, they become easier and easier and easier, and you're still going to have tons more change to go through. And this process is never ending, this expansion process. You'll get to the point where you expand out of even being a human being, and you'll go into a beingness that doesn't even require a physical body, because this body is actually quite dense. That's why when you see ETs and stuff, they're floating around of orbs of light and plasma and energy. And you'll start to so the point of the matter is this process never ends. This is infinite expansion. That's what the universe does. That's why the universe is here. Expansion is growth. So this is a game to help you grow. And I don't want to say this is a game to look at it lightly, but yeah, look at it lightly. And you'll notice there's so many paradoxes. So use discernment too. Discernment is like one of the main things you need to, discernment and protecting your energy. Two of the most crucial things on this journey. But yeah, guys, I think I hit most of the points that I wanted to hit. Understand yourself. Pick apart your experience. It's so interesting. I was a history major in college, so I just love this experience in terms of like unraveling my story of my soul signature. And it feels never ending, because think of the thousands and millions of who knows how many lifetimes you've lived that you could tap into in dream space or meditation, and then start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. It's like a big freaking puzzle. You don't need TV to be entertained. Once you start getting to know yourself and understanding how this world works, you will be fully entertained and just feel better and better and better, and keep raising your vibration until you get to know yourself and you realize you are freaking everything. So I love you guys.